Hey everybody, this is Nathan from Abraham Outdoors. The video you're watching is a tour of the campsites in the designated quiet area of the Turtle Flambeau Flowage in northern Wisconsin. Today we're going to take you on a tour of the northeast corner of the Turtle Flambeau Flowage, which is the designated quiet area. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think in that area there's a bad campsite. I think they're all great, and we're going to go through them and kind of give them each a rating. I'm going to try to stick with like 5 stars is like the best. For the designated quiet area, I personally am more comfortable in a kayak or a canoe than I am in a boat because of the stumps and the weeds that are present in that, especially in that area. So I am going to be in a canoe today. I'm making this video based on you probably kayaking or canoeing in this northeast corner, this designated quiet area of the flowage. So here we are at Murray's Landing. We got some bugs here, some horse flies. So this is the landing itself. You can see it's pretty sandy. And then, so that way is the Flambeau River. If you were to go that way, which meets up with the, well, it doesn't meet up, the Manitowish and Bear River. When they meet, they form the Flambeau, and it comes through here. And then this way is to all the campsites and the rest of the flowage into the designated quiet area.
Got a 3-day weekend and everybody's loading it up. With my Ray-Bans on and a Yeti in the back of the truck. I'm riding shotgun, playing DJ, mixing Willie and Hank with some yin yang. Got the windows down and the speakers turned all the way up.
So we're at R40 right now, but you can kind of see behind me, it's kind of weedy right at the entrance here. So it took me about 18 minutes to paddle here from Murray's Landing. You kind of have to weave through the weeds. Here's the campsite. Oh, before I say that, it took me 18 minutes to get here. The reason why I paddled really slow, and don't judge me, but this is this is why I kind of overpacked maybe, but I don't like totally roughing it. So there's like a big cooler and then a whole bunch of other stuff in there. That's a 12-foot canoe, which is short. And it's wide, so it paddles slow even without a bunch of weight. So if you had a 16, 17 foot canoe, I think you could do it a lot faster. So here's the campsite. This is great, these stumps and everything that people have set up. Looks like here's one of the pads for a tent. So here's the toilet. I'm not going to show you every toilet because that's not the purpose of this video. Thrown in the woods. This is like secluded, you know. It's pretty nice. It's close to the Murray's Landing, the closest site to Murray's Landing. Your view is pretty nice. It's that. But between the black flies or horse flies and the mosquitoes, I'm not a fan. I could definitely stay here. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would give this site a 3 out of 5 stars. Again, it's an awesome site. I don't want to take anything away from it, but I would give it 3 stars. So now we're coming up on R39. Pretty nice spot. I mean, it's probably, if you're on a kayak, it's probably less than a 5-minute paddle from R40. Okay, here we are, R39. It's sandier here, although it gets deep fairly quickly. There's weeds right there. So R39, let's go up and take a look at it. It looks like the fire ring is a little ways away from the water. Not a major climb up, but if you're carrying a lot of stuff, that's what it looks like. So this is where you could put your tent. This is a great spot right here. Nice view of the water. And here's our fire pit. One thing I see here that I don't see in a lot of the campsites is it's actually grass. So that's a little bit different. Don't know how I feel about it. I don't really like it for some reason. Anyway, if you're in a kayak or canoe, I think you could get to this place in 20 minutes. Again, I'm going kind of slow. You do have the step up. That's not the greatest, but you got great views. You're kind of like on a little bit of a peninsula. It juts out, the water, the land juts out a little bit. Great spot. So I would give R39 a 3 stars. Yeah, it's not my favorite either. Being way more critical than I anticipated, which I think is a good thing. 3 stars for R39. Not a bad site. I like it. One last look at R39 from the water.
Yeah, we like, oh, we ain't gotta take it too far from home. Little bit of heaven's just down the road, where we can lay back, open up a cold one, take it.
Here we are coming up on R38. Let's take a look around here quick. It's very beautiful. Now that water does not look very rough, but the wind is whipping, and it was very hard to paddle. That was very difficult. Update on R39, the last site we visited, I bumped it down to 2.5 stars. I found a tick on me after I got out of there. Okay, we're climbing up the campsite of R38. So I'm assuming it's because that grass was there. I don't know. The weird thing is that it was on my neck. And now we're coming up to the fire pit. It's actually really nice. Lots of trees. If you have a hammock tent, looks like a tent can go right there. Another tent could go there. Toilet is over there. Someone was trying to burn a rather large log. You know, this site is really nice. You're surrounded by water. It's very spacious up there. That's a place for tents and stuff. Looks like there's some paths that you could sit closer to the water. Bugs aren't as bad as here as the other two, but they still are here. The one thing I will say about this is I've seen the site before, and I thought last time the wind really comes in here, and it does. That being said, I would give this site, it's still really good. I mean, it's still really nice. You know what? We're gonna give it 3.5 stars. If I find a tick on me, it's going down though. But let's go on to the next one. All right, we're here at R34. It's nice and quiet, calm here compared to the water I've been going through. To get here, you kind of got to cross some open water, and that's been a challenge with this one. So looking back, that over there is R35. And you can see somebody's there. The only one that has had somebody at it. And that's because it's kind of the one everyone wants to get. It's on that island. Beautiful spot. This is actually really nice. It's open. There's the fire pit. Toilets that way. Kind of a step up. You're protected though. I feel like I can hear the breeze around me, but don't really feel it. Looks like there's some areas to explore over there. Again, the bugs are really bad though right now. Between the horseflies and the mosquitoes, they've just been vicious. R34, a great place. I would give it 4 stars. Maybe 3.5, but I don't think it's because of the bugs. I mean, I don't think there's anything we could do about it, so I say 4. So we're coming up on R36 here. This is on an island shared with R37. This is the first site I stayed at when I came here. Not too big of a step up. So coming up to the site, you're right on the water. Like, there's really no walk up a path or anything like that. It looks like there's enough room for maybe a tent there and a tent there. And maybe a tent here. There's some areas where you could put a hammock between some trees. It's not a huge site, So, I mean, for my wife and I, it was perfect. It was just the two of us and our dog. When we stayed here, it was about 11 o'clock at night. We looked out to the west there, and there was a storm coming in. When it lightened, you could see these huge thunderheads. And we looked at the radar, and they said they were like, the storm was like still 100 or 150 miles away. So it was pretty incredible, but didn't really get much sleep that night, to be honest with you. Okay, so R36 is a really nice site. This is the first campsite I've ever stayed at on the Turtle Flambeau Flowage. So it's maybe nostalgic for me, but it's small. I didn't realize how small it is compared to all the other sites. I would say it's one of the smallest here on the Flowage. The bugs on R36 are not that bad, even though I'm wrestling with this horsefly that's attacking. I would give it 4 stars. I'm trying to take the nostalgia factor out of it. If you're a small group, this is great. If you're a bigger group, probably not the campsite for you. I do think this connects to R37. We're gonna find out. Not too buggy here either. I mean, in these woods, you expect mosquitoes, but it's not too bad. I mean, some of the sites, they've been like right near the fire ring in the open areas. Okay, here's R37. The tent pads are really nice here. I mean, it's like padded down sand. And yes, R37 has its own toilet. Sure, everyone wanted to know that, but you could get 2-3 tents easily in here. Not a ton of trees for hammocks. And this is actually really nice. This is probably the most open site that I've seen. So this is a really nice site if you want it to be open and just be able to see the water really well. There's lots of little islands around here. Okay, so for R37, I would say this site is a 4.5 stars. I like it. I like the openness. I wish there was more trees for hammocks. It's easy access. I would say, you know, half an hour paddle from Murray's Landing. It's not that bad. The tent pad looks nice. The main one, it looks nice and smooth. No rocks underneath it. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I would give this 4.5 stars. So we're coming up on R33 here. I'm honestly a little bit nervous about this one just because it's been buggy already, and with both the horseflies and the mosquitoes. And this site, I'm just afraid this is the site where like the horsefly mothership landed, because this looks like it's in the woods. So if I go through it quick, that's why. But if I never come out, you'll know where my body is. Okay, I'm gonna try to be quick. I'm afraid this is gonna be buggy. So, went right for my ear hole, horsefly. It's kind of mucky on this landing, I'm not gonna lie. It's in this cove, and to the left is R32, to the right is back out towards Mary's Landing. Let's go up here. Kind of steep here, not too bad. So R33, we're going quickly. I hear them buzzing around me. So it's up a little bit of a hill. Nobody's here. It's nice, yeah. Oh gosh. All right, I was not wrong about the horseflies though. Holy cow. There's a fire pit. There's that. There's that. They're trying to carry me away, I think. So that's it.
I like pina coladas down in PCB. Give me that whiskey and cola, meet that old pine tree. Ain't nothing wrong with that white sand and some ocean breeze. Right now this lakefront view is paradise to me. Paradise to me.
All right, coming up on R32 here. Let's take a look up there. This is the island site right on the channel. Very nice site. This is where we stayed last year. So let's walk up here. Sandy bottom. See how bad the bugs are here. I haven't gotten attacked quite yet. Usually at the really bad sites, I'm already being attacked. So there's the channel down towards Murray's Landing. Nice views. Little steeper here. It's not bad. You got a tent pad here, it looks like. I think this is where I set up my hammock last year. So this is a nice area. And then I guess, yeah, you could put your boat down here on this side. So that's looking to the west-ish. Right there you see R31, that's the peninsula site. I think we set up a tent right here as well last year, and then some hammocks over here. I mean, just so much water to look at. It's just so open, and yet you do have some privacy with the trees. Here's your fire pit. So you get nice views while you're sitting around the fire. So last year, we were here in September, and we were sitting around the fire. It was dark. You know, it was probably 10 o'clock at night. And all of a sudden we see these little critters running around on the ground here. We turn our lights on, and they were turtles hatching from a hole right here. And 40 turtles later, they all had hatched. It was very cool. So I think that usually happens sometime in September. I would Google it though. But this is a great site. R32, like a little panorama around it. So highly recommended. I'm sure a lot of people want to stay at this one. So leaving R32, there it is in the background there. I got to give it 5 stars. I mean, it's a great site. There's so much water around you. You have enough privacy. You're kind of protected from the wind. It's not super far from Murray's Landing. It is getting a little bit further away, I guess. But if you're coming by kayak, canoe, you know, I would not go to the other landings. I'd go to Murray's for sure. All right, so this is R31 from the water. Again, this way is Murray's Landing area, or heading to Murray's Landing is that way. R31, looking that way. That point there is R30. This point here is R29. But this is a great location. You're kind of on this narrower channel. So if you're coming from Murray's Landing, look for R32, that's the island site, and just past that is R31, which is where we're at right now. You feel like you're on an island because you're surrounded by water up by the fire pit here. You know, all around is water. You can put a hammock in these trees here, so space for that. And then there's a tent pad here and a tent pad over there, and that can hold a fairly large tent, or a couple smaller tents if you wanted. So looks like they had a storm must have came through here. At least it fell that way. The one thing about this is you can't see the sign very well. Just know that when you pass R32 coming from Murray's Landing, you'll see where you can land your canoe or kayak right when you pass R32. This is a great site. I really like it. I would give this site 4.5 stars. It's a nice backup site if you're looking to get the island site. If you're looking to get R32, you know, keep your eyes open for R31 because it's right close by. It's just a 30-second paddle further. So here we are coming up on R30. It's R30. Again, that way is towards Murray's Landing, deeper into the designated quiet area. Lots of nice trees. Hammocks would not be a problem here. You'd have plenty of space. I like this. This is nice and spread out. The fire pit's right in the middle, and I guess you could have somebody on the other side of the fire pit and maybe somebody over on this side of the fire pit. Plenty of room for tents. As far as view, nice view of where the channel opens up a little bit more. A little further from Murray's Landing. So this is a great spot. I like this one as well. I'm gonna give this one 4.5 stars.
Got our boats tied up like an island, just killing the time. Ain't no tiki huts, but we sipping on Corona and lime. We trading palm trees for them pontoons, riding waves of the wakeboards and sea dudes. Cause when the sun goes down, yeah, we're gonna keep it going all night. You know that's right.
So this is R29. It's mostly sand, pine needles. Looks really nice. Lots of trees if you want to hang a hammock. And you could put a tent here if you wanted, or a chair and just look at the water. It's got great views. One of the best sites as far as views go. Many of the other campsites have been buggy. This one has not been that bad. So here's the fire pit. Looks like there's plenty of spots to put tents. Yeah, this is a great site. I would give this, man, it's a little further away from Murray's Landing. So I would give it 4.5 stars. I mean, it's avoided the bugs when many of the other ones have not. It's got a lot of open area, great views, great location, so you can paddle either way, either back towards Murray's Landing that way along the river, or back into the bigger part of the flowage heading that way. So I would say R29 gets vote for the best beach, especially right now. The water is very warm, so it'd be great for swimming. So here's A1. I don't know if that means that this needs to be reserved, that little sign holder there. So perhaps it does. You know, I would look into it before you come here. It's a nice gradual path. So the A1 campsite is pretty much this area right here. Not sure it's been used recently. I'm not going to rate this one since it really shouldn't be used unless you need handicap accessibility. So yeah, it's a nice site. So the site that we chose is F16 for this trip. There's an area over here where there's tent pads, there's trees for hammocks. Jay and Mike are sleeping in this area. There's some paths that way that you could explore a little bit. There's trees for clotheslines, as you see. The fire pit is here. And because it is an F site, we have the picnic table. The bugs are not as bad here as in other places. The only downside is the distance, perhaps. But if it's the best, well, it's the only family site in the designated quiet area. So if you want a bigger site, this is the one to go to, the F16 site. We have a shower here. So again, not exactly roughing it in the rustic sites, but that's our shower. Being clean is not a crime. This area here is separate, so you can kind of have like the fire pit in the middle. If you wanted one family or one small group over here, there's places for a couple of tents. And then on the other side of the picnic table, fire pit, there's places for other tents. So very spacious, spread out all along the water. This is my area. This is why I overpacked. So I got the tent. I did sleep in this tent the first night just because we got here a little bit later, and I only felt like setting up the tent instead of setting up the hammock. And I use this as storage now, and then I sleep in the hammock tent. It's very comfortable, and then I nap in the blue hammock, or just rest and read. If you're interested in hammock tent camping, one thing I would potentially recommend is earplugs. At the same time, it's nice to hear the nature at night. But for me personally, I don't like to hear animals like really close to me. I haven't heard any raccoons, or I don't know what I've been hearing during the night. I should say it that. I don't know what I hear during the night. It's just if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's pitch black, you're in this hammock, you're just dangling from a tree. Maybe it's best not to hear anything, or to have some earbuds in and listening to some white noise or something like that. I like the loons. The loons are awesome. They're really cool. But there's other stuff happening at night out here that who in the world knows what is going on. So I almost, to be more comfortable, I'd rather not know. I'd rather just pretend that nothing's going on out there and that there's not wild animals around really close to me. Now, one thing I will mention too, and I know you might not want to hear this, but at some of these sites at night, there are mice that walk through the sites. We had a mouse or two running around last night. I've seen it at R31 as well. I don't know if they're at all of the sites, but pack up your food, put it in sealed containers like this in the evening, because the mice, they're pretty bold walking around looking for food. So for other animals as well, but I can for sure tell you from personal experience, the mice have been around. They haven't been an issue. I don't think they've been a problem. Just pack up your food because you don't want mice going through it. So as far as rating F16, I would give this site 5 stars. I think it's great. Micah gives it 4.5. Jay is at 4.5 for this one. So I do want to clarify a couple things, at least one thing. R33 was one of the sites we visited, and that was the one with all the horseflies. You could probably even in the video see them swarming around me, landing on me in the photos. It was very buggy. Thinking back at that site, because I feel like even if flies aren't a problem in some sites, they may always be a problem there, just because of how bad they were. So another thing I want to talk about is, can you come to the Turtle Flambeau flowage and in a kayak or canoe and not go to the designated quiet area? Of course you can. The only thing is the rest of the Turtle Flambeau flowage has a lot more open water, and we've talked about that several times. The open water, what I'm referring to, is like larger bodies of water where the wind can whip across there. Those bigger open bodies of water, the water just gets more wavy. You can kayak and canoe on there, but know that it'll get windy and wavy. Whereas if you go to Murray's Landing, half your trek is just kind of through this narrow area that is protected by weeds. There's weeds all around you. So there's really no wind and waves or anything like that. There's some wind, I guess, but it doesn't really impede your progress a whole lot. There is an open area, like if you look at where campsites 36 and 37 are, there's kind of a bigger open area, and kind of leading up to campsite 38, there's kind of an open area there that's all connected together. That area for me was a little bit difficult to trek from 39 to 38. So you will experience that if you go to the Fisherman's Landing, Springstead Landing, the other landings. You'll probably be in more those vulnerable open areas. That being said, you can get to some campsites that are very close to, like Fisherman's Landing, and not far from Springstead too. Fisherman's, though, you're like right there on the flowage. Springstead, you have to kind of go down this channel. You kind of got to paddle a long ways just to get out of the landing zone area. But you'll experience open water, but it's for a short period of time if you want to go to the campsites that are close. So this is the view of the island that we're camping on. We're actually just around the corner if you go straight and then go left. It's campsite F16, and if you look on a map, it's kind of just like this circle island. Loon just popped up right there. Behind me is the entrance to Blair Lake. In front of me, like we just saw, is the island that we're camping on where F16 is. It's a narrow path to get to Blair Lake, but it's fairly obvious where the weeds are. This is the first time I've ever seen the bugs really bad here. I've seen a lot of videos of people saying that the bugs were bad. This is the first time I've personally experienced it. It's also the earliest in the year that I've come here. This is July 6th. Today is July 6th, 2023. I've come here at the end of July. Never a problem with bugs, even though it was super hot. Middle of August, same thing. No problems with bugs. Early September, not a problem at all. But this time, for some reason, we've had mosquitoes and horseflies. So right now, as you can see, the sun is setting behind me, and I'm still really close to Blair Lake. So right over this shoulder here, that's the entrance to Blair Lake. It's almost 9 o'clock at night. It's still this light out. Last night we were up to till 10:30, and there was still like this glow of light from the sun, even though it had gone down a long time earlier. But yeah, summertime, it stays light out really late up here, and you can see tons of stars if you stay up late enough in the summertime. You can see the tail of the Milky Way galaxy if the moon's not too bright. So it's amazing.
Yeah, we like, oh, we ain't gotta take it too far from home. Little bit of heaven's just down the road, where we can lay back, open up a cold one, take it slow.
The two sites that we could not get to were R35, which is an island site. It's actually right behind me there. And then the Blair Lake site. I can't remember the number, maybe R26, but it's the only campsite on Blair Lake. Those two sites have been occupied this entire time. I would give both of them 5 stars just because there's a reason why people are there. This one here behind me, R35, is probably the one most people want because it's so close to Murray's Landing. If you put in at Murray's Landing and you see somebody that's coming in, you'll be like, hey, are there any campsites open? And almost all of them say, oh yeah, the island site, it's open, or the island site is taken. They think that you want to go there. And that's the one they're referring to as R35, the island site. The Blair Lake one probably is not gonna be some people's favorites. I really like it because it's secluded, but there is a climb up to get up the hill. I mean, we're not talking like, you know, 100-foot climb or nothing like that. But there is like, you got to go up a little embankment to get to the campsite, and bringing your stuff up there can be a pain. If I'm being objective, Blair Lake would probably get a 4, I guess. I personally would give it a 5, but it's so far from Murray's Landing. It's probably an hour and a half, maybe even more, if you're paddling to get there. So it's not horrible, and I mean, you get to see all of this, so you can't beat it. So Blair Lake, I'll be honest, probably a 4 for most people. And maybe I'm just saying that just to keep everyone away from it because that's my favorite spot.
I like pina coladas down in PCB. Give me that whiskey and cola, meet that old pine tree. Ain't nothing wrong with that white sand, some ocean breeze. Right now this lakefront view is paradise to me, paradise to me. Looking for a getaway. Well, I know just the place. Right down the road. I like pina coladas down in PCB. Give me that whiskey and cola, meet that old pine tree. Ain't nothing wrong with that white sand, some ocean breeze. Right now this lakefront view is paradise to me, paradise to me. Oh, we ain't gotta take it too far from home. Paradise to me. Oh, little bit of heaven's just down the road. Paradise to me.
So I really hope you enjoyed the video of our trip to the Turtle Flambeau Flowage, the designated quiet area. Great campsites there. There's some, as you saw in the video, that I think you should avoid, just a couple of them. And then there's others that are gems. R29 surprised me. I knew it was decent, but it really surprised me. The biggest shocker for me was R30. I was surprised how nice that one was. The biggest disappointment for me was, R33. So I want to mention this. If you see someone camping at R33, make sure you're checking in on them every day, because they might get eaten alive by the deer flies over there. So just check in on them. Make sure they're doing okay. They obviously didn't watch this video. Maybe just forward this video to them for next time. or help them pack up their stuff and move to a better site. But either way, R33, I would totally avoid it. The camera is so jiggling so much because I'm back home in Oshkosh, and if you're from Oshkosh or know Oshkosh, you know how the streets are. So that's the explanation for that. But a couple of things I want to clarify, or lessons learned here. One thing is, I referred to the horse flies throughout the video. I don't think they were horse flies. Micah Googled it later. They were probably deer flies technically. Not that it matters. They were bugs that were bothering us. So I called it, throughout the video, I call it the designated quiet area. The real term is voluntary quiet area. That's what the DNR calls it, or management at the Turtle Flambeau, whoever it is. The term is voluntary quiet area. I personally like my term better. I'm not saying I'm smarter than them or anything like that, but I like designated quiet area better, because calling it the voluntary quiet area implies that it's voluntary. Which it is voluntary, and I understand that, but I mean, don't put it in the name, put it in the fine print or something. Call it the designated quiet area, and then just say this is a voluntary thing. Because I mean, people see the word voluntary and some people take advantage of it. To me, designated quiet area makes a little bit more sense, just to get people to actually be quiet in that area. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Ask questions, post comments. I hope you're able to plan an awesome trip. If you like rustic camping, you'll love the Turtle Flambeau Flowage. It is a gem. I love the fact that it's in Wisconsin. Enjoy your trip to the Turtle Flambeau. I hope that the next time I'm there, I'm able to see some of you out there, and that you're having an awesome time.